Good. Beautiful. Good. 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 Yep. All right. Just want to say good afternoon to everyone, and we're here to talk about the senseless homicide of Louise Wilson, a 17-year-old girl who had a full life ahead of her. She was fatally shot this past Sunday while driving on I-45, the Pierce elevated section of the Gulf Freeway. I'm joined here today with the Wilson family, including parents, Dad Daniel and Mother Krista, who drove down from their homes from Whitney, Texas, to be here today. Also here is Commander Hassick, our homicide commander, and a team of detectives. Before I bring up the homicide detectives, I want to discuss another homicide that occurred with a 17-year-old girl as well, Kayla Stevenson, who had her full life ahead of her as well. Kayla was fatally stabbed in what we believe was a robbery in the 5100 block of West Alabama just this past Saturday. I'm proud and pleased to announce the arrest of that suspect this morning. We'll have more details on that a little bit later, but she is in custody. We want the same justice for this family, the Wilson family, as we did for the Stevens family. Just want our community to reach out and do what you can to get us information to bring this person in custody. The father, Daniel, will step up to say a few words following our investigator, Detective Caleb Bowling. But before I do that, I just want to pause, and we've been here before, and it's sad. We're in a large city with some homicides, and we got a lot of work to do, but I'm very proud of the great work that our homicide investigators do every day. The clearance rate, the percentage, is probably better than any major city, and we're going to keep going there, but every family is important to us. Every block in this city is important to us, and anybody coming through visiting is important to us. And we're going to stand strong as a community. But I want to just briefly, and I know Dad's going to speak, but I want to say something as a chief. And I shared with this family. I spoke to them a few days after the incident. But I also looked at the interview last night on the news. And the strength, the spirit of parents during a tragedy is just amazing. And I want to applaud them for that. And then in the conversation, to know that she wanted to be a police officer. She wanted to be a canine handler. That's who she was. And we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to bring some justice to this suspect, our suspects, and get them in custody. But I'm going to bring up the investigator now, and then we'll hear from her dad, and Hector Garcia, Commander Hector Garcia will translate in Spanish for us, okay? Investigator, come on up.
Detective, can you give your name, title, and spelling, please?
My name is Caleb Bowling. Name is Caleb Bowling, C-A-L-A-B, Bowling, B-O-W-L-I-N-G. I'm a detective with the Houston Police Department here, Homicide Division. I'm going to start with patrol units with our downtown division responded to a shooting that took place on the Pierce elevated section of 45 southbound lanes just after 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. Upon arrival, officers located a vehicle that had pulled onto the right small shoulder area. They found a female who had been shot multiple times, along with a male who had been shot once in a non-life-threatening area, and a second uninjured male. Members of HFD arrived on scene shortly after and pronounced the female victim deceased. The injured male was transported to an area hospital where he was later released that same night with those non-life-threatening injuries. Patrol units were able to close the freeway and clear the remaining vehicles off the elevated section to facilitate the investigation. The female was around that time identified as Louise Wilson. The two males that were inside the vehicle, who were also from Whitney, Texas, provided us with statements about the incident and indicated that they were driving through Houston while on their way to Galveston. The witnesses indicated that Miss Wilson had moved into the right-hand lane, unintentionally cutting off the vehicle. Vehicle that they had cut off accelerated and overtook her on her driver's side of the vehicle they were in. A suspect, described only as a black male in his mid-20s, in a newer model black four-door sedan, began firing into Louise's vehicle, striking her and the male witness. The suspect vehicle continued along I-45 southbound without stopping. Miss Wilson was able to brake her vehicle and bring it to a stop. Louise's last act was to safely pull over and most likely saving the lives of the two males and further injury and anyone else that was on the freeway in that very tight area there on the Pierce Elevated. It was a heroic act for her to be able to get that car to the side and stopped with the injuries that she sustained. We know, being 1 a.m. on a Saturday night or into Sunday morning, 1 a.m. on a Sunday, that there were other vehicles on the road out there, and that's who we're looking to and asking for help from. Whether they saw something that they think is insignificant may be very significant to us. So we're asking for anybody that had been in that area and saw anything to please come forward, to call us at the Homicide Division, or if they would like to remain anonymous, there's always Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Take your time.
As Chief said, my name's Daniel Wilson, and this is my wife, Krista, and we're here about our daughter, Louise. I want to thank the Chief, the Houston Police Department, the media for being here, for allowing us to talk about Louise and try to find out who did this. But, as Detective said, our daughter was just trying to go to the beach to watch the sunrise with her boyfriend on her day off before she had to go back to work again. She wanted to just see this great, travel through here and go see Galveston and have a good time. And she ended up dying a hero. She was shot through her heart, and she was still able to safely pull over the car and save the people in her car and other people who were driving. And she wanted to help people, and she helped them. And we'll always remember that of her. We know that the person who did this might see this, or if there are other people around, there is a reward. So think about that. And the people at her work are raising funds to add to that. So just know, if you have somebody who said something, you can. There's a reason to come forward to just give a face to what had happened here. Louise was a beautiful young woman. Everybody that we've come in contact with, we may not have known them, but they knew her. From the funeral directors that we've had to talk to the grave digger at the cemetery, we've had to find a place to put her daughter. And they know her. They knew her smile, and they talk about what a beautiful young girl she was. And so just think about that, of what you took from this world and what she could have done. Lay that on your conscience, whoever did this. And just know she took an angel from, and you gave an angel, but you took such a beautiful, took our baby girl. Thank you so much for everybody giving us a minute of your time, and just know and thank you.
Commander, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Buenas tardes. Estamos aquí para hablar sobre el homicidio sin sentido de Louise Wilson, una joven de 17 años de edad que tenía toda su vida por delante, cuando recibió un disparo mortal el domingo pasado, mientras conducía por la sección elevada del 45 Sur, también conocida como el Pierce Elevated, de la autopista del 45 Sur. Hoy nos acompaña la familia Wilson, que condujo desde su casa en Whitney, Texas, para estar aquí con nosotros. También tenemos aquí al comandante de homicidios Hasek y los detectives de su equipo. Pero antes de continuar con este caso, a nombre del jefe, queremos reconocer que hubo otra joven de 17 años de edad que también fue asesinada este fin de semana. Su nombre era Kayla Stevenson. Ella fue apuñalada en la calle, en la cuadra 5100 de la calle West Alabama. Y hoy el jefe está muy orgulloso de compartir con el público de que la persona responsable por ese homicidio ha sido arrestada y se le han levantado cargos de asesinato con la pena máxima. Queremos la misma justicia para este caso. Queremos la misma justicia para Louise Wilson. Acaban de escuchar al detective de homicidios que nos dijo que esta joven iba conduciendo con dos otras personas en su vehículo. Eran aproximadamente la 1 de la mañana del domingo y iban a Galveston a ver el amanecer, a ver salir el sol. Desgraciadamente hubo una ocasión donde la joven tuvo que desviarse de su carril, moverse al otro carril, y eso hizo que se enfadara. Otro conductor que estaba atrás se le alineó y le disparó al carro, hiriendo mortalmente a la joven, y también otra persona dentro del carro fue lastimada por la bala. Lo que es un milagro es de que la joven Louise tuvo la certeza, tuvo la capacidad de mover su vehículo al lado y estacionarlo en un lugar seguro para que no hubiera más percances. Su último acto fue en realidad salvar la vida de sus otros compañeros dentro del carro. Lo que sabemos es de que era un vehículo de 4 puertas, el de los sospechosos. Si alguien sabe algo sobre esto, por favor, háblenle al Departamento de Policía, a la División de Homicidios. Y si quieren permanecer anónimos, háblenle a Crime Stoppers al 713-222-TIPS, 713-222-TIPS. Cualquier información va a ser de utilidad para nosotros. Les pedimos su ayuda para darle justicia a esta familia que ha venido a pedir la ayuda de todo el público de Houston. Muchas gracias.
Before we open up for questions to the parents, family members, and our investigators, I want to say this final plea to our public, our great citizens in this great city. Criminals, and I say it time and time again, they talk, and somebody's out here talking. So if you heard something or you saw something, get it over to our homicide division or either Crime Stoppers. Give this family some sense of closure in this very difficult time. But we're just asking that you do that. Questions?
For the family or detectives?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Louise? See, it looks like she's in a graduation gown.
Go ahead.
Louise was homeschooled, and she finished her high school time in 3 years on her own kind of initiative, while simultaneously taking community college classes. She was just a few classes short of her associate's degree, and she really wanted to pursue some type of a career in law enforcement with a dog by her side because she loved animals so much.
And you said her workplace was gathering money for the reward?
Yes, ma'am.
What place is that?
This is Texas Great Country Cafe in Whitney, Texas. It's a small town, little diner where she waitressed at, and got to meet a lot of people there in town.
This is
Great Country,
great.
yeah.
G-R-A.
Can you tell us about your family? Does she have any siblings?
She's got a brother named Gabriel who's about to be 15. And then, so this year he's going to get to go through Christmas without her. And this happened on her grandmother's birthday. And as I said yesterday, she, instead of getting to tell her happy birthday, we get to tell her that her grandbaby had died. And,
We had a chance to talk to your brother yesterday in Pennsylvania. And
Yes.
he mentioned that she loved horses, she
Yes.
loved animals. Can you kind of talk a bit about her, just her love for animals and some of the things she liked to do?
Okay. Well, she did rodeo for several years. She loved horses, and we've always had animals on our property, and taking animals in, and cats were her favorite thing.
she just rescued a dog.
Yeah.
And she just rescued a dog that had gotten dumped at the local car wash. And she'd showed steers for a couple of seasons, and so she loved it. She loved her horse, CJ.
And she even had plans to become a law enforcement officer and work with the canine.
Yes, she recently had told us that she wanted to look at becoming a jailer over in Hillsborough, just to kind of fill in that gap between
Academy and
the academy at age 21. Yeah, but she didn't get that chance.
Has she ever made this drive, taking all this before?
Not by herself, but she has made it with our family several times. Yeah.
All right. Anything? You good?
I have one for the detective.
Okay.
Okay, and for the family?
Yep. Anything else for the family? Thank y'all.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Detective, you asked people, you said there was a dark-colored four-door sedan as the suspect vehicle. Do we know what make and model Louise's car was, in case people saw her vehicle?
Suspect.
Right now, it's not as important. I would say that we're mostly looking for if someone was behind this incident, it would have been fairly obvious what was going on, and that vehicle was
We can
is up there.
say the suspect vehicle one more time so everybody can
So
get a description of it.
again, the suspect vehicle is described as a clean, newer model, black four-door sedan, and unfortunately, that's where we're at the moment.
Okay.
And from what the witnesses said, it happened pretty fast. It wasn't like an extended.
There was not an extended jockeying of vehicles up on for a long time. It was a fairly quick event that took place in a short amount of time.
And no interchange between the two vehicles, and did the other vehicle have anybody else besides the driver as far as you're aware?
It's still part of the investigation, but as far as I know, there wasn't a bunch of exchange. It was something we've all done. I believe everybody that's driven on a Houston freeway has probably cut someone off by accident before and had to jockey for position on the freeway, and for whatever reason, that resulted in this act of violence.
Senseless.
Michelle?
All right.
Have you guys been able to canvass any surveillance, maybe from like high-rise apartments that are out from the freeway or anything like that?
Canvassing is obviously part of our investigation, and it is still ongoing and still part of what we are out doing.
I want to talk about cameras too, very, very briefly, because I want to get the family to a little bit of a rest during a difficult time. This is why I'm saying the press conference that I had, and it didn't address cameras on freeways, but we need cameras and license plate readers wherever we can. And I'm making a plea to political leaders, community leaders, everyone. We have that technology. There is a cost to it, but if we go into a public-private partnership, we can get a lot more cameras. You can't put a police officer at every block in the city, but we can certainly enhance the cameras, and that's what we're doing. So a part of that campaign is working with our officials to get more cameras, because if something happens on the freeway, I want to be able to pull it as quickly as we can. identify that vehicle, get those suspects, and get them in custody. So I don't want to go too long on that, but I think it's appropriate to state it right now. So any more questions?
Can I follow up?
Yes,
on that one?
absolutely.
I know
Yeah,
we had
with me?
Crane Star
Go ahead.
cameras,
Yeah.
and they were maybe, they didn't record. But
Yes.
it may have caught it.
We hit
Talk about the
we hit a
importance
few
of
roadblocks on that, and that's where we all have to come together as a state, as a region, you know, to understand the need of, you got to have cameras, but you have to have recording capabilities up there and work our way through the concerns with our public and legalities, but we got to push to get them up. So thank you. Any more?
And just kind of talk about, I mean, it's, people are afraid to drive on the roadways because, I mean, a simple passing in front of somebody, you know, you don't know if that person has a gun, you don't know if they're going to
Well,
follow you home. What can you tell
First of
people?
all, I want to say she didn't do anything wrong, and that's what I want the family to know. She didn't do anything wrong. This is the fact. It's really senseless and cowardly for somebody to shoot somebody because you don't even know what's going on in the car. But unfortunately, it's the way that certain people are going in our society right now. Guns in the hands of the wrong people, and you're not thinking about anything. You get upset and you want to fire off some rounds, and that's something that we got to stop. But she didn't do anything wrong based on what the witnesses are saying. But make sure that we're not, you know, engaging in any kind of, somebody cuts you off or does something, let them go up the road, okay? And that was not the case here. She had, you know, she was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. A great young lady who we're going to celebrate her life some kind of way here, and I mean that, okay? So we'll end with that, and thank y'all for being here. But what we need is a lot of help with people in the community. And when y'all run this story, and please put that description of the vehicle out there, and if somebody's seen something, please say something. We need to get some justice for this family. Thank y'all. Thank you. All right.